Mariam was a high school student who used to love going to school every day. Until the continuous incidents of school bullying started happening, her life seemed to collapse. And from that point on, school became a nightmare, with her friends slowly distancing themselves, causing her to fall into a state of severe depression. Mariam was born into a family with a tradition of respecting women's rights, so she and her mother were loved and spoiled by her father. Mariam also had two close friends, Dina and Yazan, but since Yazan was currently far away, they only kept in touch through social media. However, there was one secret that Mariam always kept hidden from everyone, which was that she and Yazan were secretly dating. If Dina knew about this, she would probably be shocked. The bullying story began 2 weeks ago on the school bus of AlRawabi School. The female students on the bus were getting along just fine with each other, but as soon as Mariam got on, Lan immediately teased Mariam, calling her a tomboy, a nerdy boy. Since Mariam was used to being called that, she didn't pay much attention, but the more she ignored it, the worse Lan became. They kicked her and Dina to another seat. Dina, being shy, stood up and left to avoid conflict. Mariam stayed in her seat and challenged them, waiting to see what Lan would do. As the bus stopped to pick up more students, Lan poured a teapot of tea over Dina. This was just the beginning for anyone who dared to oppose them, the golden girl of the principal. Lan ran off the bus and threatened to kill anyone who dared to reveal what had happened. While all the female students were at school singing the national anthem, Lan took a taxi to a building and went into the restroom to change clothes. When she stepped out, she transformed from a schoolgirl into a trendy, sexy young woman. The homeroom teacher began to check the students' appearance. Mariam was still as perfect as usual, with nothing to criticize. When the teacher noticed Lan was missing, she asked the other students. One of Lan's close friends said that Lan was sick and had taken the day off. This wouldn't have been a big deal if Lan had a permission slip signed by her parents. But in reality, Lan was at a coffee shop meeting a college student. This was the first time they had met after a month of texting online. On the same day, the class welcomed a new student named Nof, who had transferred to the school. From her appearance, Nof seemed quite rebellious with her unique style of dress, but Lena wasn't bothered by that and went over to shake hands and guide Nof to her seat. After the date, Lan sneaked back onto the school bus. She told her to close friends about the date and bragged about her boyfriend, who was very rich, drove a sports car, and had an apartment with a swimming pool. He even promised to take her to his private house. Dina, being curious, sat upstairs and paid attention to the entire conversation. The next day, during basketball practice, Lan intentionally threw the ball at Mariam. The coach, seeing this inappropriate behavior, immediately penalized Lan by having her leave the court. This made Lan furious. When they went to the locker room, Lan continued to pick a fight by purposely falling into Mariam, and then falsely accusing Mariam of molesting her. Nof, who was sitting behind, saw everything but didn't react. With Lan's strong call for a boycott, everyone began to verbally abuse and avoid Mariam. Rumors began to spread around school that Mariam had molested Lan in the locker room. Dina told Mariam about Lan sneaking off the bus to go on a date. Mariam reported this to the principal. Later, the sexy girl was called to the teacher's office, but instead of being disciplined like other students, the principal only warned Lan not to let this happen again and to be careful about the people around her. The homeroom teacher was very surprised when Lan was left unharmed and suggested to the principal. If her father knew about this, he would destroy the school, so it's best we keep quiet and pretend nothing happened. Lan returned to meet with her group of close friends. She wanted to find out who had reported her secret to the principal. Still trusting her to close friends, Lan decided to use the power of being the principal's daughter to investigate through the school janitor. Because she was the one who went all around the school, so she was sure to overhear and learn the identity of the one who reported her. That afternoon, after school, Mariam received a message asking her to meet at the bus stop. Lan showed up with her gang and beat Mariam badly. This is the price you have to pay for daring to oppose Lan. However, in her rage, Lan grabbed Mariam's head and slammed it to the ground. When they saw the blood, Lan and her gang panicked and fled the scene. They left Mariam lying there with a head injury. Soon after, Nof discovered what had happened and called for help. When it came to giving testimonies, Lan's group and her two friends lied without hesitation. "We have nothing to do with the bullying of Mariam." On the other side, Nof had witnessed the incident, but due to being threatened by Lan's friend, she didn't dare to tell the truth. Because there was no evidence or witnesses, the assault on Mariam couldn't be traced back to the perpetrators. Even Mariam, when she woke up, didn't dare to point fingers at Lan for hurting her. Instead, she lied, saying she was attacked from behind and didn't see the attacker's face. Because her injuries weren't light, the school administration couldn't ignore the issue and decided to hold a full-grade parent meeting to find the culprit. The administration announced that cameras had been installed throughout the school, and they had identified the suspects in the assault on Mariam. However, they still gave the students one last chance to confess in order to receive a reduced punishment. In the midst of the silent room, Lan suddenly stood up and confessed. However, her justification completely turned her into the victim, and the guilty party was Mariam. "It was all because Mariam deliberately tried to molest me first. In trying to defend myself, I accidentally hurt Mariam. It was just an unintended accident." Lan acted dramatically, crying and using her tears to gain the sympathy of everyone. She succeeded to make everyone raise their hands as witnesses, claiming Mariam had tried to molest Lan in the locker room. Everyone stood by Lan, which was extremely disadvantageous for Mariam. At this point, Mariam couldn't take it anymore and wanted to tell the truth about how she had reported Lan skipping school to go on a date, and that was why she was being retaliated against. However, before Mariam could say anything, the principal interrupted her, and with that, Mariam was punished with a 2-week suspension. Mariam's family felt ashamed of their daughter. Her mother quickly left, pulling Mariam with her, but the girl tried to stay behind, pleading with Nof. "Please, you were there too. Please tell the truth." After all her hopes and efforts, all Mariam received in return was terrifying silence. When they got home, Mariam's mother began to show her disappointment in Mariam. She rummaged through her room, looking for something that could prove her daughter was truly a bad person. She blamed herself for spoiling her too much, giving her too much freedom. It seemed that losing face at school and being embarrassed hurt her mother more than the physical pain Mariam was suffering. Mariam fell into depression because no one trusted her. Friends like Dina also began to distance themselves from her. When she visited the psychologist, they diagnosed her as being obsessed with Lan, which was why she had been trying to act out to get attention. The result Mariam received was a bottle of sedatives to calm her mind. The 2 weeks of suspension came to an end, and she reluctantly returned to school with a bottle of pills in her hand. But everything at school had changed. Dina, her best friend, showed an attitude of unhappiness because Dina had discovered that Mariam and Yazan were secretly dating. Her only close friend was now gone. When she entered class, she was still being bullied. In anger, she ran to the restroom and took a pill. After calming down, Mariam decided to rebel. She activated the fire alarm, causing the whole school to panic and scatter. The teachers immediately evacuated the students from the classrooms. When everyone had gathered in the schoolyard, the loudspeakers suddenly broadcasted a recording with the voices of Lan and her friends, constantly bad-mouthing the teachers and even insulting them. At that point, the principal lost her composure. She could no longer protect Lan, so she immediately allowed the homeroom teacher to handle Lan and her to friends. Earlier, the homeroom teacher had seen them knock over the janitor's cleaning water, so this was the opportunity to teach them how to respect other people's work. The janitor came in and handed each of them a protective suit, and from now on, they would take over cleaning the school in her place. Seeing this scene, Mariam felt happy. Nof came to check on Mariam to see if she was okay. "Do you think I'm okay? You saw everything but didn't tell the truth. You're a coward." Nof had been expelled multiple times. The most rebellious act she had ever committed was stealing to cheat on the midterm and then distributing the answers to all the students at school. So now she didn't dare to take any more risks. That day, the school invited a former student to give a talk on the issue of school violence. Lan was nominated by everyone to play the role of the bullied student, while they needed someone to play the role of the bully. No one in the school dared to take on the role of the bully, probably because of Lan's special status. However, Nof's hand went up, causing everyone to be stunned. Standing on stage, Nof fully embraced her role as the bully. She shoved Layton and called her smelly like a skunk. "How long has it been since you've taken a shower?" She also encouraged the whole school to clap, creating the effect of calling Layton dirty. The lecturer saw the situation was getting tense, so he quickly separated the two. Then he asked them to return to their seats. After the class, Nof went to see Maryam and said that she had been expelled several times. This was the last school that accepted her, according to her age. She should have graduated last year, but she kept transferring schools, so she was a year behind her peers. The principal said if she caused any more trouble or broke any school rules, she would be expelled immediately. Nof didn't want to be a coward. All of this was because she saw how hard her mother worked to get her into school. So she chose to stay silent and avoid trouble so that her mother wouldn't have to worry. Meanwhile, Lynn couldn't stand the mockery of everyone when she wore the janitor's uniform. So she went to the principal to demand justice. In the end, Lynn and her group were forgiven, and their punishment was lifted. The homeroom teacher felt that this was unjust. If we keep covering up for rebellious students, the school will be in chaos. The principal, however, saw this as a minor issue, so she wasn't too concerned. During a football class that day, Maryam decided to take revenge by kicking the ball into Lane's head when she was standing in goal. Lane was furious, but couldn't do anything because the coach saw it as just a small accident in sports. Later, one of Lane's friends told her that she had seen Nof at the scene when they were bullying Maryam. Lane, being the daughter of the school principal, feared that Nof would reveal this, so that afternoon she went directly to threaten Nof's younger sister. She even hit the little girl on the head at the exact moment Nof arrived and witnessed the incident. Nof said, "I'm not stupid enough to bring trouble upon myself." Hearing that, Lane let Nof's younger sister go and didn't forget to leave behind a threat. "If you dare to reveal this secret, next time it'll be worse." Nof couldn't accept being threatened. That evening, she went to find Maryam to cooperate and decided to teach Layan and her gang a lesson. Upon hearing this, Maryam trusted Nof with her revenge plan. The first step was to defeat Layan's supporters, and the next step was to eliminate Layan's only ally, the principal. They hoped that after handling this, Layan and her gang would no longer harm anyone. However, before their plan could begin, Layan resumed bullying everyone. One day, she started a cake-eating contest to lure Dina into her trap. Dina, happy with her victory and wanting to be praised, was beaming. Seeing this, Maryam immediately warned Dina, "You're being used and mocked. Don't lose your guard around these people." However, Dina trusted Layan's group and was even happy to become friends with them. That evening, the school organized a dinner party, and the female students eagerly discussed who they would go with. Since it was an extracurricular activity, they were allowed to dress freely. Layan, being the boldest, pulled her shirt down to take a sexy photo and send it to her boyfriend. Rosaya kindly warned her, "If you send this photo to someone else, it's very dangerous." But Layan trusted her boyfriend completely, laughing and saying to Rosaya, "You're outdated and conservative." Dina had a hard time changing into her outfit. She wore tight white pants and was very confident in her appearance. Layan's group complimented her on being very stylish and beautiful. But then they lied, saying her pants had gotten dirty and pretended to help Dina clean them. Dina felt incredibly happy because she thought she had new friends who cared and helped her. But Dina didn't know what was really going on behind her back. Layan's group smeared lipstick on her pants, then took pictures and sent them to all the female students in school. As soon as Dina appeared, she immediately became the target of ridicule throughout the school. The mixture of shame and heartbreak made her cry in helplessness. At this point, Maryam, already familiar with the bullying from Layan's group, calmly went to comfort Dina. From then on, the two of them made up, and Dina was accepted into the Three She-Wolves group. Since Nof wasn't informed about this beforehand, she was very upset. She believed that Maryam should have consulted her before making such decisions. Nof didn't trust Dina, as she feared that if everything was exposed, she would be expelled immediately. But Dina was Maryam's best friend, and she was also in charge of this plan, so she believed she had the right to make decisions without consulting Nof. This made Nof feel disrespected, and she decided to leave the group. That evening, when the party began, Layan and Rania both invited their boyfriends to attend, and just like them, Maryam invited Yazan. However, instead of being happy, Mariam showed a displeased attitude and made an excuse about being busy to leave early. Mariam created a fake account and started flirting with Nokair, the only girl in their group who didn't have a boyfriend. So, when she received a message from a stranger trying to get to know her, Nokair felt happy. At this point, Nof also started to accept Dina's presence in the plan, with the condition that Dina keep the plan a secret and not tell anyone. Lan came from a prestigious family. She was beautiful and talented, which made everyone adore her. For these reasons, the psychologist had once said that Mariam, out of jealousy and envy, developed feelings of resentment toward Lan. However, for some unknown reason, Mariam still didn't dare admit that she was dating Yazan. She said, "He's not my boyfriend." Just then, Yazan was present and witnessed everything. He was deeply shocked by Mariam's denial. This made him angry, and he left, cutting off all communication with Mariam. Mariam still tried to remain calm, as if nothing had happened. Her mind, however, was entirely focused on her revenge plan. She and Nof continued messaging Rukair, who was sitting next to Lan and Rania at the back of the schoolyard. Both of them were sitting next to their boyfriends. This only made Rukair feel more alone. And since she didn't have a boyfriend to hang out with, she became their lackey. Dina, seeing Rukair buying snacks and drinks, intentionally went over and bumped into her. The food and drinks Rukair had just bought spilled everywhere. Rukair was furious, but couldn't do anything, so she had to use her own money to buy 2 more portions. Seeing the angry expression on Rukair's face, Mariam and her group couldn't hide their delighted smiles. The next part of the plan went exactly as planned. Nof informed the homeroom teacher that someone was having a secret date behind the school. Hearing this, and in her responsibility, the teacher quickly shone a flashlight toward the back of the school to check. Unexpectedly, the light helped Lan detect someone was coming. Immediately, she urged everyone to run away. So when the teacher arrived, there was only an empty space left. At this moment, Rukair returned, feeling resentful for being abandoned by her friends. She took out her phone to call, but they didn't answer. After a while, Rukair finally found the spot where her friends were sitting. They acted completely indifferent to the fact that she had been humiliated and abandoned, as if it didn't matter to them. Taking advantage of the pre's vulnerability, they decided to launch a psychological attack. Mariam continued messaging and comforting Rukair, making her feel that only this mysterious guy truly understood and cared for her. Next, Rukair trusted the mysterious guy enough to click on a link he sent her. The link was actually something Mariam had modified from a picture online and embedded with malware to hack into Rukair's phone. Then, the mysterious guy asked Rukair to send him another picture, one where she wasn't wearing her headscarf so he could admire her beautiful face. Rukair secretly entered the bathroom and took off her scarf, but then she hesitated. She was still afraid of being exploited, so she immediately refused. Seeing that the prey was harder to trap, Dina stepped in. She skillfully sent a flirty message with sweet words. "I know after what your friends did, you don't trust anyone. That's understandable. I'll wait until I deserve to see the beauty behind that scarf." Usually, sweet words are a trap, and the prey immediately bit the bait. Without hesitation, Rukair pulled her shirt down and took a few photos to send to the mysterious guy. She even boldly pulled down her shirt to reveal her bra straps to make herself more seductive. Just a few minutes later, her personal social media account posted the photos she had just taken. Her friends at school started to stare at Rukair, and they mocked her, calling her a filthy, promiscuous girl. Her parents didn't know how to raise her and let her behave like this. Faced with these criticisms, the victim was almost in shock. Only Lan and Rania understood and protected her, helping her get through this storm. However, the family and the school didn't let the situation pass so easily. Rukair's mother took her home and scolded her. "What were you thinking when you sent those photos to a stranger? You're hoping for a marriage proposal when you have no self-respect left." Because of this incident, the school was also implicated. What kind of prestigious school is this, with such chaos? Rukair's mother announced that she would no longer let her daughter attend this school. This meant that Rukair had to leave her student desk behind, all because of a prank by Mariam and her friends. At this point, the teacher did not feel sorry for her impulsive student, and even brought the story out in front of the class for discussion. "This is a lesson for you all. We are girls, and we must never forget our moral values. Dina felt that her actions had a serious impact on Rukiya's life, so she felt quite guilty. She never expected to have assisted Mariam in doing something so terrible. This act of retaliation made her no different from a bully like Layan. Dina feared that the more they sought revenge, the further things would spiral out of control, so she and Nof both suggested that they stop. However, that day, Rania discovered that her boyfriend and Nof were following each other on Instagram. This made her blood boil, and she continuously criticized Nof for trying to flirt with her boyfriend. The two argued, and they broke her phone right there in the school bathroom. Mariam learned that this was outside her plan, so she had another argument with Nof. You have to consider the bigger picture in everything you do. You can't just act on your own without my approval. Nof felt like there was nothing left to stay for, so she decided to withdraw from the group. After some waiting, the results of the national football team selection were announced. The 2 lucky spots went to Rania and Mariam. The coach explained, initially, 1 spot was for Layan, but her attitude was bad, which led to her being eliminated. Although Mariam has slightly worse technique, this can be improved with training. But a bad character is difficult to change. Layan had never lost before and would never accept being beaten by someone as incompetent as Mariam. One time, she accidentally saw Mariam using psychiatric medication. She then secretly took Mariam's diary from her bag. Soon, the secret about Mariam having seen a psychiatrist and needing medication for treatment spread throughout the whole school. Once again, Mariam was bullied by her peers with insults. They called her crazy and mentally ill person. Mariam fell into a dead end because of their bullying, which they considered a harmless joke. But for her, it was the source of deep emotional pain. It felt like climbing up the stairs only to be kicked down, causing pain so intense that she couldn't get back up. She decided to give up, stop seeking revenge, and accept living with what she had. If they wanted to win, then let them win. She would leave her plan behind in tears. Layan took revenge on Mariam, so he brought his victory to show off to Rukiya. But both were chased away by Rukiya's mother. Rukiya stood on the balcony, looking down as her 2 friends walked away, feeling even more upset and crying uncontrollably. Her mother, instead of sympathizing with her, scolded her. You were born neither beautiful nor talented. In short, you are useless. So, you must work much harder to get what you want. I don't know if the rumors about you at school will affect the reputation of your older sisters. Instead of worrying about those friends of yours, focus on yourself first. That day, Nof went to Dina's house and was overwhelmed by how amazing her room was. She didn't expect Dina's life to be so comfortable. The purpose of this meeting was to plan how to help Mariam take revenge on Layan. When Mariam received news that Dina wasn't feeling well, she asked her dad to take her to visit her friend. When she learned that they had intentionally used this method to lure her, Mariam was unhappy, and hearing about the revenge plan made her even more uncomfortable. She decided to back out, fearing she wouldn't be able to compete with the 3 she-wolves. But everything had already been arranged, and Dina and Nof handled it. They had gathered all the flyers stating that Mariam was mentally ill and helped her recover her diary. With her professional hacking skills, Nof was confident that this plan would succeed. According to overheard information, they found out that a few days later, Layan and Rania would meet their boyfriends on a school trip. At the same time, Layan's group planned to sneak away while everyone was asleep. The first step, Nof used Rukiya's hacked account to send a picture to Layan as a warning for their revenge. However, behind that click, the account information was now in Nof's hands. On the day of the trip, everyone was excited, but Rania ran into a problem when her father stopped her from going. That day, he had been drinking and took his anger out on her. Fortunately, her mother appeared just in time to shield her and speak on her behalf. Taking advantage of the situation, Rania quickly sneaked out to the car and was driven to school by Layan's 2 brothers. On the way, Layan accidentally opened a box and discovered a gun inside. She thought her older brother had stolen their father's gun. But the truth was that their father had bought the gun for her brother and registered his right to use it. Upon arrival at school, the girls gathered in one place, waiting for the teacher to take attendance and assign rooms. To their surprise, Rania and Layan were assigned to share a room with Nof. This wasn't a mistake, It was because Mariam had purposely registered to have Nof placed as an insider. Once again, Mariam made plans without informing anyone in advance. This led to Nof feeling disrespected. During free time, everyone had their own choice of activity. Mariam, along with Dina and several other girls, joined a volleyball game, while Nof just wanted some peace and quiet. So, she decided to go to the pool alone. However, while relaxing, a man approached her, started talking, and then took advantage of her by attempting to molest her. Nof was scared and struggled, screaming for help. Fortunately, Layan was nearby, heard her, and immediately rushed over to chase the man away. Nof appeared tough on the outside, but was very fragile inside. When the homeroom teacher arrived, she didn't dare to speak the truth and let Layan explain everything. After listening, the teacher scolded them. It's the fault of the students for dressing inappropriately, which provoked that man. If you girls had been more modest, none of this would have happened. This statement made Layan feel incredibly unfair. She believed that the man should be punished and taught a lesson, so he wouldn't dare to do anything inappropriate again. After spending the day with Layan, Nof realized that Layan had some good qualities. So she advised Mariam to resolve the conflict between her and Layan through a proper conversation, instead of facing off and using tricks to harm them. This made Mariam think that Nof had been brainwashed by Layan's group. When Nof returned to her room, she found the other two girls were doing their makeup. They didn't hesitate to invite Nof to join the outdoor dance party with loud DJ music. Layan explained to Rania that the only way to avoid being exposed by Nof was to involve her in the plan. At curfew time, the homeroom teacher began checking each room and marking attendance. At that time, all the students were present in their rooms, including Layan, Rania, and Nof. But as soon as the teacher turned her back to leave, Layan quickly took off her robe to reveal the outfit she had prepared. Thanks to their boyfriend's sponsorship, they didn't need IDs or tickets and still managed to get into the performance. Rainey's boyfriend, while she was away, started flirting with Nof. But when Rania came back and caught the two of them, they were in a struggle with each other. She didn't care about the reasoning. She immediately jumped in to accuse Nof and began yelling at her. Layan knew she was innocent, but didn't help them reconcile. She told Nof to go back and calm Rania down. At the hotel, Mariam, disregarding Dina's advice to stop seeking revenge, or at least consult Nof, took matters into her own hands and called the teacher to report seeing the students at a nightclub. Dina felt uneasy, so she went to check and was horrified to find that Nof had sneaked out with Layan. However, by then, it was too late to fix anything. They tried calling Nof, but after hundreds of calls, Nof didn't answer. It was likely the noise at the nightclub prevented her from hearing the calls. When Nof finally saw the message, she immediately informed Layan, and they both rushed out to find Rania, hoping there was still time to return to their room. However, it was too late. Rania had been caught by the homeroom teacher and the coach. Out of friendship, Rania took all the blame for herself, saying she was the only one who sneaked out to the party, signaling to her friends to escape. According to Rainia's statement, Nof and Layan were in the room. But the teacher said, "I've already checked the room, and there's no one there." To verify once more, they returned to the room, and this time, both Nof and Layan were together. They explained, "We were looking for Rania earlier, that's why we weren't in the room." For them, friends don't betray each other. The incident that occurred was caused by Mariam, which made Nof lose trust and goodwill toward her even more. After a week of suspension, Rania returned to school with panda eyes from being punished by her father. Mariam not only failed to recognize her mistake, but also said heartless words, "The bruises will be gone in a few days, but the wounds in my heart will never heal." They got what they deserved. It's just the karma they brought upon themselves. Mariam continued her quest for revenge. She overheard a conversation between Layan and Rania and learned that next week, Layan would skip school again to go on a date with her boyfriend. She came up with another plan to make Layan pay for her actions. However, at this point, Mariam was left alone because Layan had made up with Nof and Dina, and they were even eating together, as if there had never been any conflict. This made Mariam think that Layan had seduced her friends, so she felt that the revenge must be carried out as soon as possible. She went back and searched for Layan's Instagram then found her boyfriend's account in the photos section. She selected a picture that seemed to be taken at his house. From the location tag in the picture, Mariam was able to find the address of Lan's boyfriend's house. The smile on Mariam's face showed how confident she was. Finally, Lan would have to pay for her wrongdoings. The next day, the homeroom teacher took attendance and noted that Lan was absent, but Mariam accused her of getting on the school bus. Nof and Dina tried to convince Mariam to stop, warning her not to make things worse. But compared to what they've done to me, they don't deserve forgiveness. You two have no right to stop me. To Mariam, Nof was just a hypocrite. If you're so righteous, why didn't you speak up and help me when I was being bullied? Nof thought back to the moment she witnessed Mariam being tormented by Lan's group and how she stayed silent up until now. So, what right did she have to advise Mariam? She was just a coward who liked to talk about morals. But Dina explained, we've already gotten our revenge, and Lan's group has faced the consequences. Khair was expelled, and Rania was punished by her father and suspended for a week. That's enough revenge. What's important now is to stop Mariam from going any further. Today was the day the school was receiving an honorary award. The principal didn't want to ruin the celebration, so even though the homeroom teacher reported that Layton had skipped school, the principal chose to ignore it. Let me accept the award first, and we'll deal with it afterward. Feeling anxious and worried about students skipping school, the homeroom teacher sneaked into the principal's office, accessed the parents' files, and obtained Lan's family contact number. But since Layton had blocked the school's number on her parents' phone, the teacher couldn't reach them. The only option left was to call the chairman's hotline directly. Meanwhile, Rania saw a photo taken secretly during their date in the backyard, with Dina's reflection in the window revealing her as the one who had taken the photo. Rania immediately brought the picture to Dina to confront her. You're the one who lied. However, after hearing the warning that Lan was in danger, Rania put everything aside and rushed to find a way to contact Lan. By coincidence, as she walked past the teacher's room, she saw Lan's parents and older brother had arrived at the school. Oh my god, the situation was no longer just about skipping school to hang out. Lan's entire family was in a panic because they knew their daughter had secretly gotten off the school bus, and this wasn't the first time. On the other side, Mariam was struggling with whether she should send the location of Lan's boyfriend's house to Lan's brother. Her mind began to recall the days when Lan bullied her, falsely accused her, and humiliated her. Because of them, her mother had turned her back on her, affecting her family's happiness. These painful memories kept appearing in Mariam's mind. Suddenly, Rania appeared, shaking off her thoughts. Rania begged and sincerely apologized to Mariam. What you're about to do to Layton is terrible. I promise I won't bother you again after this. But Mariam still decided to send the message to Lan's older brother. On the other side, Lan's older brother had just received the message. My sister is here to meet her boyfriend. He immediately lost his temper and turned to his father. Don't worry, I'll handle this myself. Meanwhile, Layton was having a romantic moment with her boyfriend by the pool. She had finished showering, put on his clothes, and they were sitting together watching a movie. Her phone kept ringing, but she didn't notice anything. When the door knocked, Layton snapped back to reality and checked her phone messages. The school was in chaos because Lan's father was making a scene. He was worried about his daughter and angry at the teachers for their irresponsibility. When he saw the principal holding the award for the best and most prestigious school, he couldn't control himself and immediately grabbed it, throwing it to the ground. If anything happens to my daughter, you better shut this school down. On the other side, Miriam's brother saw the schoolgirl uniform hanging outside the house and couldn't stay calm any longer. He immediately broke down the door, entered, and without saying a word, attacked Layton's boyfriend. Layton didn't know what to do except keep pleading, but he took out a gun and pointed it at her. Do you think about your parents' reputation when you do things like this? Layton swore that nothing had gone beyond limits between her and her boyfriend, but nothing she said mattered anymore. She helplessly closed her eyes. Accepting the punishment, a gunshot rang out. Outside, only the school uniform was left fluttering in the wind. On the other side, while the principal was struggling with the situation involving Layton's family, the director revealed that Layton's boyfriend was actually the principal's son. Although no one explicitly stated whether Lan was alive or dead, the sorrowful expressions of everyone and the fearful glances avoiding Mariam made it clear that Lan had met a tragic end. Only Mariam felt extremely proud of her revenge. She walked with her head held high, satisfied with the outcome. Those who do evil must face the consequences. They brought this upon themselves, and I am not at fault. However, when playful pranks and thoughtless words among friends must be paid for with a life, it is truly a price too high to pay. What do you guys think about the ending of this movie? Please leave it below in the comments section. Today's video content has ended. See you all in the next movies.